This month, in Moyse Hall, something a bit different is happening. Here, the proscenium arch is accustomed to framing well-known classics, the grand hall often filled with the joyous tunes of colorful musicals. But here in the Arts Building, the English department is proud to present you with something brand new, the first ever production of How Exile Melts, a play written by McGill graduate Dane Stewart, BA 2014.
It wasn't an option, okay? You had to pick between me or you had to pick between him, and I could not let him win. Are you sorry? For what, Daniel? I don't understand.
How Exile Melts depicts a family reunion in their foggy hometown of Halifax, Nova Scotia. The four Waugh siblings are reunited for a fortnight, arriving in from various cities across the East Coast. Glenn Waugh, the eldest, arrives from Montreal with a colorful wardrobe in tow, eager to present himself unapologetically to the city in which he grew up. Julia, arriving from Toronto, is unable to escape her unending burden of legal work. She carries her attaché alongside the cigarettes and wine she uses to combat the stresses of an urban professional. Finally, Daniel, a disheveled but academically driven professorial candidate, flies in from Boston, pensive and distraught over his recent divorce. The three return to their old home in which they grew up, where the youngest of the Waugh siblings, Anna, age 20, soft-spoken and endlessly caring, still resides. They are meeting to discuss plans for their ill and bedridden father, who resides with Anna in one wing of their old, worn-down family home. This decision is particularly difficult on Anna, who is the only sibling to have stayed at his bedside. Now, the play doesn't linger all too much on this exact discussion, but rather uses it as a catalyst of sorts to explore more complex familial issues.
I love that Moyse picked a student-written play. It's really quite groundbreaking, and just the content itself is wonderful, and it's a contemporary outlook on sexuality and gender and from many different perspectives. This is really one of the few plays I've seen done at McGill that deals with contemporary conceptions of sexuality and gender and the problems that arise from it, and it deals with it from a few different perspectives, and whether it's about marriage or who you identify with, what gender you identify yourself with. There's quite a few ways that it delves into that, which is interesting.
The Waugh siblings do not get along very well, and it may be surprising, based on how radically different they each are, that they are even related at all. Anna's softly sung melodies are constantly interrupted by Glenn's loud and ostentatious jabs at his younger brother. Julia's unending workload is contrasted by Daniel's desire to just sit and take time to sort things out in his head. Slowly, the bickering and fighting begins. Years of repressed problems and grievances stemming from childhood experiences, and now fully realized, begin to break free. Further fueled by current failures and years apart from one another, the siblings begin to blame each other for the way that they each are. They speak of disenchantment with the urban capitalist system, the double-edged sword of gender binaries, a child's responsibility to their own parent, one's own sexual identity, the inherent worthiness of one's personal work, and so much more. It's all very pertinent and interesting without ever seeming preachy. No one character's standpoint or ideas is given more legitimacy than another, but rather they are all given the ability to explain how they feel and why. The Waugh siblings' personal revelations are fantastically delivered, honestly and organically, one layered atop another, through the recounting of childhood anecdotes and personal current affairs. These stories and ideas are accompanied by powerful images that should resonate strongly with a McGill audience. May it be the lights and sounds of St. Catharines Street or the seemingly unending hallway of train cars on the Toronto subway system. The performances from this minimal cast are outstanding. The entirety of the play unravels within the warm, well-lived space of the Waugh family residence. The siblings occupy their own personal spaces throughout the household, believably reacting to and invading each other's claimed territories when their stories escalate. The set complements the concepts in the play, mirroring the disintegration of the Waugh family. The outdated decor of the space stands in contrast to the modern characters, reinforcing their disconnect from their childhood home. Like their family, the home appears to be well maintained and put together from a distance, but upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that it is fraying at the ends.
My favorite part of this production would be, just the writing for my role. There's so much stuff to work with. There's so many great lines, so many great interactions with the other characters. It just gives me so much stuff to do. It's so much fun to like build these relationships and, figure out how I'm gonna, act all these things. I'm really amazed at the quality of this script and like the issues that it explores. And it does it like really well. Like when I'm reading this, I'm constantly, like I hear this show every night. I'm in it in rehearsal every night. And I keep thinking, wow, like I notice more and more things about it that are just like real, that make me think, wow, that's so true. He really captured this.
There is a certain barrier to entry inherent in most classical productions. The performances could be phenomenal and the art design extraordinary, but ultimately, relating and deriving meaning from what could largely be an antiquated era plot might not be for everybody. How Exile Melts is not only relatable in its content, but in the way that its content is presented. The discussions that it entertains and inspires are complex and interestingly formulated, balanced perfectly atop wonderful casting and a down-to-earth atmosphere. How Exile Melts runs November 20th through the 22nd and the 27th through the 29th at Moyse Hall. Tickets are $10 for students and available at the box office. For TVM, this has been Courtney Kassel.